Okay, this is my first time seeing him actually. He's amazing. We're super lucky to have him today. Please help me welcome Zain Ali.
How's it going, everybody? How's it going? All right, my name is Zain Ali, and I was not born on 9/11. Never thought I would need to ever explain that, but apparently I do. So weird. Two people born on 9/11. That's crazy. Crazy. Oh, I wonder if they were born like 15 minutes apart, you know? Like, one just came out, and then the other's like in the horizon. You're like, oh my God, I think that's Nick. I think that's Nick. Oh, man. I'm doing well. I hope you guys are doing all right as well. I went and saw my doctor recently. He told me that I need to go to the gym more. He didn't really say that. He just said I got to work up a sweat. He was like, you know what, just like do some jogging or play some sports. And being the lazy person I am, I just found non-physical ways of working up a sweat. You know, like, for example, wearing a leather jacket while making jokes in front of lights and a bunch of people that don't know me. That seems to work every time. Also ordering a sandwich from Subway when there's only female employees working, you know? They're like, hey, would you like a sandwich? I'm like, only if you were already gonna make one. I don't wanna expect you to make me a sandwich. You know what, I'm not even hungry. Do you want a sandwich? I can make you a sandwich. I voted for Hillary. No, I didn't, I'm Canadian. But I would have if I could have. I would have if I could have. Hashtag I'm still with her, okay? Hashtag not in that way, not in that way. Whew. All types of ways to sweat, guys, that's all I'm trying to say. I gotta lose some weight. My problem is that I eat really bad food really late at night. That's my problem. I don't know, I can't help it. It's like, I can eat kale all day long, but then the clock strikes midnight, I'm like Cinderella reverting back to the piece of shit I always was. You know, like, it's so bad, it's horrible. I feel like I'm a werewolf that realized fast food tastes better than human beings, you know? Like, just the moon comes out, suddenly I black out, and then I'll come to a couple hours later, I'm like sitting in a car in a McDonald's parking lot, just fries all over me, like ketchup on the dashboard. I'm super confused. Like, it's 2:30 in the morning. How did I get here? I don't own a car. And why am I naked? Like, I've got some questions. I've got some questions that need some answers, guys. It's rough, man. It's always McDonald's, too. I love McDonald's, all right? I remember when I moved here to Toronto from Pakistan, this was in 1996. I was 5 years old. I'd never had McDonald's before. And then the first time I had McDonald's, honestly, like, it kind of filled the void of missing my family back home in my life. Like, I remember I ate my cheeseburger and I was like, you know what? I'll see my cousin again sometime. That's not, he's only 10,000 kilometers away. It's not that bad. That's not, I'd rather the supersized fries. Honestly, man, like, I feel like the way people feel when their grandma hugs them is how I feel when I dip my McNuggets in sweet and sour sauce. Like, it's just the best. It's the greatest feeling. And that's why I feel like A&W is making a huge comeback, because they're not even slick about it. Like, they name their burgers after family members straight up, you know? It's like Mama Burger, Papa Burger, like, they're geniuses. I see what they're doing out here, you know? They're like, oh, you miss your uncle? Well, here's 2 uncles for $7.99. There you go. There you go. I'm like, oh, thank you, A&W. You're so good to me. But no, I miss my family back home quite often. I spoke to my cousin recently. He's planning a trip to the States, and he wanted to know just some advice on how to avoid offending people there, because racism is a big issue down there in the States. It's also an issue in Canada, North America in general. It was very surprising to know that, you know, it's not really a big issue in Pakistan at all. Like, don't get me wrong, people are racist in Pakistan, but there's just not a lot of active racism because everyone's the same race, you know? Like my cousin has no idea that he shouldn't be thanking Mexican people for Taco Bell, because there's no Taco Bell nor any Mexicans out in Pakistan. So it's crazy, honestly. Like, I realize, like, they don't even think about racism down there in Pakistan. Like, you can walk up to someone, any one of you can go to Pakistan, first person you see, if you're like, hey, you Paki, they're like, well, how do you do, sir? Nice to meet you. Could I interest you in a bootleg DVD? It's Bradley Cooper's latest movie, The Hangover 2. I hope you haven't seen it before. Honestly, like, there's not even a word for racist in my language, guys, but there's like 5 words for poor. Those are just the kind of issues that they deal with in Pakistan, all right? That's just, they've got other things to deal with. But unfortunately for us, we live in a first world country, so we have to deal with racism a lot. So I gave him some advice. I gave him a couple tips. I feel like most people can use them. I know Tim can. I'm sure Tim could use some advice. But no, I've got some advice I'd like to share it with you guys. Tip number 1, if you say somebody looks Chinese, That's not a racist thing to say, okay? That's just an observation. But if you say somebody smells Chinese, that's racist, okay? Like, don't ever say that, all right? That's like the most racist thing you can say in that situation, okay? Tip number 2, if you call a brown guy a bad driver, that's not racist. He might actually be bad at driving, but if you call a brown guy a cab driver, that's racist, okay? Like, you can't call, even if he drives a cab, you gotta find some other word to use, okay? Call him like a ride sharer or something like that. You can call him an Uber driver, but if he's Persian, don't call him Uber driver. That's like, I know it's a little complicated, but racism is not a simple issue, guys. You gotta really put some work in. Tip number 3, if you see a black guy walking down the street and you cross the road, that is racist. But if you see a black guy walking down the street, you don't cross the road, it's not racist, but it's a little rude, you know? Like, give him some space. Like, streets are quite narrow, you know? You don't want him walking on the wet grass, ruining his Jordans. Like, that's the worst situation. Don't worry, I'm half black. No, I'm not. But I feel like you can get away with it if you are. Tip number 4, if you're white, that's racist, okay? You can't be white. Not in 2018. So sorry. So sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's the wrong year for you. It's the wrong year for you. But there is a loophole. If you're white and you've watched Black Panther in theaters, no longer racist. That's the solution. I hope you held on to your ticket stubs, all right? Because I know some people didn't. I did that joke like last time I performed. Someone in the crowd was like, "What about Night School?" I'm like, "No, man, Night School does not count. That's a trash movie. Like, watching Night School is arguably anti-black. You know what I mean? That's a garbage movie. There's no chance. It's Black Panther or Moonlight. That's it, guys. That's all you get. All right? If you don't want to be a racist, that's all I'm saying. Oh, man. I'm enjoying this. This is fun. Does anyone know what their favorite thing in the world is? Anyone. You can yell it out like, whose line is it anyway style. Food? Chocolate. That's an amazing one. I love chocolate, too. Oh, now that you mention it, I just want some chocolate. This is horrible. But it's not my favorite thing. This is going all the way down. All right. I was holding it for a while. I'm like, oh, my God, support. But no, it's not happening. But my favorite thing in the world is when my mic stand doesn't fall down like that. But no, my favorite thing in the entire world is when I hate somebody for no reason, and then they give me a reason to hate them. That is like, it's the best. It is the greatest thing that can possibly happen ever. Because, like, you feel like Sherlock Holmes, you know? People come up to you, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe he cheated on his wife. How'd you know he was an asshole, Zain?" I'll be like, "Oh, elementary, dear Watson. You see, I spoke to him once, and he told me that he thought Toy Story was overrated. So I knew right then he was not a man that could be trusted." It actually happened to me recently. It did. I was at a party, and one of my ex-girlfriends showed up with her new boyfriend, and I had to hate him because he's her boyfriend, but I had no real reason. And that thing happened that seems to happen at every party that anyone goes to, where you just end up in conversation with the person you least want to talk to, right? So I was talking to him, and he mentioned that he was a United States citizen, but he didn't vote in the last election. And I knew right away, like my butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, this is it. This is the one. This is how it's going down today. And so I asked him, I'm like, "Hey, if you don't mind me asking, why didn't you vote in the last election?" And he was like, "Well, in my opinion, Hillary Clinton is just as bad as Donald Trump." And I was like, yes! Oh my God, yes! That is the greatest answer you could have given me, guys. Because honestly, like, I hated him because he fucked the girl of my dreams. But now I can hate him because he fucked the dreams of every girl. And that is so much worse. Objectively speaking, that is so much worse, you know? Like, this guy, he probably orders sandwiches with zero remorse, you know? He just walks in there like, "Hey, dollface, get me a steak and cheese, no tomatoes." Then he slaps her ass as she's walking into the back room to call human resources. Like, that's definitely the kind of guy he was, you know? But, no, just like him, though, guys, time's up for me. My name is Zain Ali. Thank you guys so much. You've been fantastic.